I just wanted to come on here and say I'm sorry. I voted for him and I thought he was going to make things better for folks like us.
I live in a failed Republican state. I'm from Missouri. We've had a Republican supermajority for almost a decade. Under this Republican supermajority, our schools have been defunded. Our roads and bridges are crumbling. We don't have access to hospitals in rural areas. There's been 14 that have closed in the last 10 years or so. They give public tax money to charter and private schools. They won't expand Medicaid. We're near last in teacher pay. We're almost dead last in school funding. In Missouri, the wealthy keep getting wealthier. The rest of us, we are number one in something though, COVID and the Delta variant. There are more Missourians hospitalized and in the ICU today than there were a year ago at the height of the pandemic. This is because our lawmakers politicized wearing masks and getting the vaccine. It was the same as usual, politics and money over people. Republicans failed us.
I'm not into politics, but I know what's right and what's wrong.
And what's wrong right now?
The way Trump is treating us and treating us poor people. I mean, it's bad because he's never been poor. He's always had that gold spoon in his mouth ever since the day he was born.
What would you tell me?
Go take a hike and let somebody else have a job.
Why do rural Americans keep voting straight red tickets and actively undermining their futures? I have an example. This is Josh Hawley. He's my rich senator, and like me, he grew up in rural Missouri. But unlike me, he did not go to his underfunded public school. He went an hour's drive away to a private school in Kansas City. His father was a bank president and saw the importance of education. It would never let his son be educated at a terrible school. That town that Josh grew up in is like 70% red, and that district is as bad as it gets in the state. It ranked 521 out of 535. But people in this community keep voting for people that write laws that make their town and schools worse. Why? I don't get it.
Does America feel great again?
No, not at all. Well, I can get laid off tomorrow, then I'm pretty much homeless. Because, you can't save now. Every dollar you have has to go to gas, groceries, bills, rent.
Does America feel great again?
Not in the way everyone wanted. With gas prices, and you can't afford to breathe at this point.
What does it feel like to be living in these conditions right now, in these economic conditions right now?
Hurt, very hurt. I try to do, sorry, I cried. I try to do a lot for my kids, and I can't do much.
It's hard, especially as a father, because you ain't got that extra cash to go and spoil your kids. So it's pretty difficult.
The middle class is definitely being affected, yeah. Low class might as well, crawl in a hole because they can't afford anything. Drill, baby, drill just didn't go, I don't think.
You still can't beat inflation, no matter what. Well, it seems we never catch up, no matter what. We're always behind the 8 ball.
Never forget that elections have consequences. For one city in Nebraska, they're learning that shit the hard way. Curtis, Nebraska has a population of 806. It's the kind of place with a single traffic light, one health clinic, and a fuck ton of American flags. And in 2024, over 85% of them voted for Donald Trump. Now, their only medical clinic is shutting down by September 30th of this year. It's the kind of place people went for everything. For checkups, blood work, urgent care, you name it, that's where they went. And once it's gone, they'll be looking at a 40-mile round trip just to see a doctor. So who have they decided to blame? Not Trump, not the Republican Party. They're blaming the hospital executives. Like this is some sort of isolated business failure and not the direct result of the GOP's big, beautiful bill that gutted Medicaid and rural healthcare funding. That bill slashed nearly $1 trillion from Medicaid. Small-town hospitals like Curtis's, they were the first ones thrown under the bus, and the GOP knew it was coming. And now look where these people are. Sick, stranded, and still making excuses for the guy who signed their death warrant. But this is the cost of voting for the con man, guys. Your taxes don't get you care. Your vote doesn't get you help. It just buys you a slower, more painful collapse. So when you say you support law and order and protecting life, but watch your hospital close down under a president you put back in power, you're not just a voter. You're the getaway driver.
Let me get this straight.
When I get older and I have to go into an extended care facility, I have to bankrupt myself, pay at least maybe $7,000 a month to go to the place where I'm going to die. And I can't even maybe get the round-the-clock nursing care or the meals that was supposed to come with that $7,000. And then there's no option for me really to go anywhere else because I'm on Medicaid and I have no money. So how is this not like criminal?
Rural America is facing a growing economic challenge. In some communities, rising costs, hospital closures, limited opportunities, and pressure on social programs are making life increasingly difficult. But here is the bigger question. Why do many rural voters continue supporting politicians whose policies critics say may hurt the very communities they represent? Let's watch more clips and we'll come back to talk about it.
Say, I'm sorry. I voted for him. I thought he was going to help folks like me. I really did. Now my SNAP's gone, my Medicaid's gone. They cut off my heat and help last week. I don't know how I'm supposed to buy groceries next month or keep the lights on. I ain't got no...
Cruelty is the point here. Stay for this video and I'm going to come back to you about Arizona and all the other states who have been cut off from SNAP benefits. 39% are children.
Food banks were never intended to be your sole stop along the way when you're food insecure. Food banks were intended to be supplementary to other programs, other helps that you might get. So to see people relying on food banks as their primary place for groceries just means that people are getting less food, and that's very distressing because I don't know if you've ever been hungry, but I was last night and I wasn't much good until I had some dinner.
In addition to children going hungry, older people, disabled people, veterans and military, all who receive SNAP benefits monthly, we are losing billions of dollars in economic stimulus. For every dollar that is reinvested to feed people, taxpayers, children, every dollar we get $1.59 to $1.79 back in economic activity. Not only is Donald Trump starving people, he is hurting the economy, including farmers, grocery stores, local and state taxes. We are losing billions of dollars and starving people. Also, we can have tax cuts for rich people.
I find it so insane that in rural southern communities that are literally just waiting to die. I mean, there's the poverty is out of control in these communities. Social services don't exist. Help doesn't exist. That they still vote for Republicans. You know, they see no material change in their life. They probably complain about their life, but yet they go and vote Republican. And the Republicans pacify them with religion. Don't worry, it'll get better. Don't worry, we're praying to God, it'll get better. They don't even expect anything from these politicians.
I didn't leave the Republican Party. I learned that the Republican Party was not what I thought it was. So I was raised in a place where we didn't even have Democratic candidates for most elections unless they were statewide or nationwide. And I was taught that if you loved Jesus, you had to vote Republican. And I loved Jesus, so I did what I was supposed to do. And to my great shame, I didn't even question it or look into it until the Republican Party first chose Donald Trump as a candidate. And that's when I started looking, because I knew, wait a minute, if they would nominate this man, they couldn't possibly stand for the things I thought they stood for. That was the beginning of my departure from the politics I was raised with, and ultimately the beginning of my deconstruction, although that took multiple years later before I started that process. But I never voted for Trump, and I knew that a party who supported that couldn't possibly support what I thought. So now I have a confession to make. I'm a democratic socialist. And if you would have told me that, a decade ago, I would have told you those were bad words. Because just like I was told the Republican Party stood for something, I was also taught that socialism was a bad word and a terrible thing. But now, as I'm looking and learning and not just relying on something someone else told me, I'm realizing that my values have always aligned more with democratic socialism than with anything else. So I am so happy to see what is happening around our country in New York and Michigan last night and other places around the country, where we are starting to say, wait a minute, we were lied to about what this meant. And this is the best way to care for the people in our community. So,
Rural America is far from economically uniform. Some communities are thriving, while others are dealing with population loss, healthcare shortages, struggling local businesses, and rising costs. For many rural families, programs such as Medicare and SNAP can play an important role in increasing healthcare and putting food on the table. Critics of proposed cuts argue that reducing those programs could place additional pressure on communities that already have fewer resources. Supporters of spending reductions, however, argue that government programs need stronger oversight and that reducing federal spending can strengthen the economy over the long term. And that's where this political debate gets complicated. Rural voters don't necessarily make decisions based on one economic issue. They may also consider taxes, immigration, gun policy, cultural issues, energy, agriculture, and their overall trust in political leaders. So it's important not to assume that every rural Republican voter has the same priorities, or that economic hardship automatically changes someone's political beliefs. The bigger question is whether government policies are actually improving people's lives. Are rural communities receiving the investment and support they need, or are economic pressures being overlooked because of partisan politics? Let's watch. Share your thoughts in the comment respectfully, and before you go, do well to like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next.